Good morning, everyone. Here we are, broadcasting live from the Four Seasons, Las Vegas at BlackHat 2024. And we are thrilled to be here, bringing CyberRisk TV to BlackHat, to BSides, to DefCon. And I am Bill Brenner.
I'm sorry.
See, Paul is in a rush. And this is a nice segue into what we're going to talk about. So he is chomping at the bit to go downstairs and get himself over to the Tuscany for BSides Las Vegas, which opens this morning. And so, Paul,
Well,
what are you most looking forward to there?
Well, I'm trying to get to a talk that starts in half an hour that's called "We Got Rid of Passwords. Now What?" And it's all about how going passwordless creates a whole bunch of new problems we have to deal with, which is, interesting to me because I'm kind of the identity writer at SC Magazine, CRA. And so, it does create a problem that we have to deal with in a few years when things really get passwordless, which has not happened yet. In fact, it may be more than a few years, but that's another story. Anyway, there's all sorts of issues. For example, it's kind of hard to restore an account if you have no password at all. They touched upon this a bit at Identiverse, and one guy came up with a good idea of using passports, which have an NFC chip as a way to remotely establish identity in case of a lost account. But I doubt that'll come up here unless I ask a question. Other things at BSides, there's a whole bunch of Sky Talks, which are kind of these interesting semi-underground talks, which I can't go to because I'm press. But there's one talk called Microsoft effed it up with the CrowdStrike thing. Actually, not just the CrowdStrike thing, just in general, with their emails getting pwned and so on and so forth. The system is getting broken into, losing an API key, to Chinese hackers, all sorts of fun stuff. It makes you kind of wonder, along with the CrowdStrike thing, where their security culture is going, where Microsoft's security culture is going, and what that means for everybody else. That's my phone. I don't know what's up there. There's another talk about this guy, Sick Codes. That's the name he uses. He's a good guy. I've talked to him on the phone many times. I hope to meet him for the first time in a real space here. He's talking about threats to the food supply from digital vulnerabilities, how people can mess with the food supply, which is something we all take for granted, and yet we shouldn't.
We're always talking about energy and internet.
Right. But food's even more important than energy. You can't eat electricity, but you have to eat something. There's another one, let's see, a couple more talks that are interesting. There's one sort of about what quantum computing is going to mean for cryptography, of course. That's sort of a well-worn path, but it's always good to catch up on, and that's going to dovetail nicely with the talk at BlackHat, I think on Thursday, about the myths of quantum computing and what, get past the hype, get to the reality. That should be interesting as well. And the I Am the Cavalry is doing a lot of stuff at BSides. There's one that's basically what happens when everything falls apart, which is the apocalyptic stuff that I love, and that'll be sort of like dealing with the aftermath of the real cyber Pearl Harbor that everyone worries about. What the real extent will be, how badly things will be messed up. As we saw with the CrowdStrike thing a couple of weeks ago, it doesn't take a lot. Let's see, there's another one that's a woman who's sort of talking about how to get into AI systems, which should be interesting. And we're trying to think of a few other things. There's one about MC catchers, where you kind of try to grab other people's cellular signals and mess with them. That's a Sky Talks thing, but I know some people are going to try to get into that. And let me see, I have a few other notes, but it should be really good. Unfortunately, I can go looking for one day because tomorrow was BlackHat, and I got to devote my time to that.
Yeah, so those are the talks. Let me kind of pivot to the cultural. So we're now a decade and a half into Security BSides. And it's a movement I've long supported. and just have been in awe at the way it has grown and how fast it grew, and just, due to the work of some industry giants like Mr. Jack Daniel, who is not here. He's in Georgia getting rained on, I think. But you've also been going to these since the beginning.
For about 10 years.
Yeah. So, to me, BlackHat has changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The B-sides part, where it's just gotten so much bigger, and it used to be everybody knew each other,
mm-hmm.
and now I can go to B-sides and
mm-hmm.
I see people I know, but most people I've never met before, which is great. It's a lot of folks are coming into cybersecurity, and B-sides is the perfect place to really focus on what you need to do career-wise.
You're right. They have entire tracks devoted to that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give a plug there.
Yeah.
Because for those in our audience who are younger, you're just getting into cybersecurity. Maybe you want to be a CISO someday. Maybe, engineering is where your passions are. But this is definitely a great opportunity to get some actionable career direction.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that going on at BlackHat today, tomorrow, Thursday as well. But the way B-sides does it has always been more, something special in my view. So
the people at BlackHat, they already have careers. They're going to be using this to sort of try to accelerate them or launch into a new position. But if you're really trying to get started in cybersecurity, look up the closest B-sides to your location, and they are all over the world now. They really are. Most cities in North America have a B-sides, most medium-sized cities, a lot in Europe, some in the Middle East, some in Asia. Really, really worth checking out.
Yep.
Great place to get started, because so I was discussing this with somebody else the other day, that there's still no real sort of set path toward a career in cybersecurity. You can get all these certifications and take these cram courses, but that doesn't make up for experience, and experience is kind of what you need. And you can get, I wouldn't say you get just as far, but it's just as important to get involved with the local community where you are, and get to know people. And they will help you out if you're just trying to start out and get into the field. The one thing you have to realize is that nobody knows everything. This is a field where you can never rest on your laurels. Everyone's trying to learn new things, and no one can be smug, and they're not going to have that attitude toward you if you're somebody starting out, because they're still trying to learn things too. Everyone is. And it's a very welcoming culture. And one thing I've always appreciated about this community is that you can walk up to the biggest rock stars in the field, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to be totally friendly and nice and ready to talk to you. Mm-hmm. And that's something you don't find in many other industries.
Yeah, another thing so just ton of value with B-sides, but the week as a whole, really just one of the things I find encouraging,
mm-hmm.
and there were events going on the entire week, BlackHat, and then into DefCon, focusing on combating the job burnout.
Yeah.
And so we have organizations like CyberMinds here that are really focusing on the mental health element and helping cyber defenders really build mental resiliency, because the digital Pearl Harbor is not probability zero, and it's going to be an already stressful job is going to become ever more stressful. So we need to be talking about mental health. So look up CyberMinds. Look up the Diana Initiative. Our own Mandy Logan, who is a co-host for Paul Security Weekly and also one of our main interviewers this week. That's something she's been involved with. I attended their dinner Sunday evening and just met a lot of super smart people. And so really encouraged to see that happening too. I feel like the industry is starting to really stop and take a hard look at itself in terms of what's needed to help people into the right career paths and to get that mental strength, to get those skills, those tools to be their best, despite all of the, all of the challenges and pressures that come with it. So really looking forward to this week. Really looking forward to some great executive interviews that we have throughout the next few days. And I'll be doing the intros and outros each day, and I think you'll be doing the intros and some of the outros.
Yep.
I'll be joined later by our friend Jeff Mann, co-host of Paul Security Weekly. And for keeping track of all of our content while we're out here, please visit securityweekly.com/BlackHat, and you can keep up with our coverage and these interviews as they happen. So we'll be back, but welcome to Vegas, and I wish you all a super productive day. And with that, we're going to get Paul off to B-Sides. Off you go, sir.
Whoop. All right. Thank you.